Can bad sleep kill your gains? Well, contrary to what Paul Carter may have you think, it absolutely can. Now listen, a single bad night of sleep isn't going to be that bad. Like, sure, you're going to have a little bit of supraspinal fatigue from the tiredness, which is going to cause a little tick down in motor neuron recruitment, but it's not that big of a deal. You can use techniques to increase motivation, to maximize motor neuron recruitment as much as possible, like training with a training partner, being in a competitive environment when you're training, using caffeine, pre-workout. But where things can definitely get detrimental is if you have consistently bad sleep, because the sleep debt starts to add up. So if I miss 2 hours of sleep for an entire week, that's the equivalent sleep debt wise to me missing almost 2 nights of sleep. Dude, that's terrible. Not only that, but if your body detects this persistent sleep loss as a stressor, then it can lead to a glucocorticoid response, which can have even worse effects. Firstly, it's going to suppress muscle protein synthesis rates, which is going to, 1, suppress hypertrophy, 2, it's going to accelerate atrophy when you're in a state of atrophy, so higher frequency is even more important, and 3, it's going to suppress muscle damage repair, which means that it's going to take longer for you to recover. Now, the suppressed muscle protein synthesis rate isn't that big of a deal if you're doing 3 times or 3.5 times week frequency, because you're not going to be in a state of atrophy that much anyway. But the thing is, it also increases muscle protein breakdown rates, which actively catabolizes muscle tissue. And this isn't something that training really can change. As long as the stressor is there, the increased muscle protein breakdown rates are going to be there. This kind of atrophy preferentially targets type 2 muscle fibers, which are those larger muscle fibers that are most important, especially for advanced lifters. And also, it can slow down the inflammatory response post-workout, which means that the muscle damage is going to take longer to happen, and it's going to take longer to repair. So, again, take longer to recover. So persistent sleep loss can definitely negatively affect hypertrophy, but you should still train because you want to minimize atrophy as much as possible, and higher frequency is going to be even more important to minimize atrophy, and also minimizing muscle damage as much as possible because recovery is impaired, so using lower volumes, lower reps, RIR is going to be more important. And also check out Chris and Jake's podcast on this subject. They have 2 podcasts about this. Great, very information dense, so please watch that. I'll tag them below and help us out more.